Hi everyone, this is a time lapse of a painting I've recently completed. Thank you for watching. I'm going to take you through all the steps and kind of talk you through what I've done during the time lapse. So to start with, working with a black base colour for the canvas, I go in with a thicker brush and pop in colour tones wherever they are. So starting off with the blues, the darker blues, moving through the lighter blues. This is just working from inspiration of an image that I found. I'm not going to tell you what that is yet because you've got to wait to the end to see what it is. But you can see I'm slowly putting in blocks of colour and shapes as well that identify different ways that the texture and the movement of the painting comes across. So at the moment, just working with the thicker brush to create that movement and that texture. I find this part really satisfying because covering the canvas is something I enjoy to do. I like working off the top of colour, and I feel like it's a good base to push forward with, and it kind of motivates me to keep going. So now you can see that I'm popping down the white tones, blocking in more of the shapes, giving myself more of a plan that I can start to build up slowly. So I'm using a thinner brush here, popping in lighter colours, being quite liberal with my marks, with the brush marks that are going down, and really kind of starting to express the colours and how everything is moving around. But as you can see, as the colours build up, their brightness builds up, which is something I really focus on when I'm painting. Putting some of that black back in really makes everything pop a little bit more. So it's just at the moment going over and over, building those layers with washes or thicker bits of paint to make sure that everything is strong and vivid. As you can see, the brush is getting smaller and smaller as I start to plot in more of the detail, more of the wispier bits of the painting. You can also see a lot of the paint is running, obviously because we're going super quick. You can see it dribbling for a short period of time, but I like that movement, how the paint runs. I let it do its thing. If there's drip marks left over, I'm okay with that. I enjoy the texture. I think it makes the paintings feel alive. So I've popped in stronger black lines to help myself further identifying the detail and block in kind of the course of where different marks are going to go now, focusing on bringing the forefront to the focus, moving that bright orange paint in, really important, get those bright colours down, still using those washes to make sure that everything is light and fluffy and textured. Yeah, so we're still doing that, keeping that nice and light, moving back to a thicker brush now, making sure that we've got all the main colours down now that we have more of a guide, working back into it. I really enjoy this bit. I like seeing how the shape of the brush mark affects a lot. So we could see more paint dribbling just then. That's a really thin wash of white that I've just put down. Blocking in, popping those colours through, making sure that the focus point is popping out, putting those little details of white in, taking my time with those, making sure that they're accurate to what I'm working from. Do you guys think you can kind of see what it is now? I think it is emerging, but it just takes time. It's just a lot of washes, a lot of layers, a lot of build up, and it is a journey and a process, and it's really interesting to see how it moves this quickly. So of course, I think this took me maybe 30 hours. But I really enjoy doing this kind of thing, especially when it gets to the later stages and everything is so bright and full of life. I love how you can see how everything's moving. Blocking in that black now, really to focus on those final bits of detail and make sure everything is in the correct place, to make it as inspired by what I'm working from as possible. Such a nice blue that's going down in now. You can see kind of over time that I'm pausing a lot more. I'm having to stand back from the painting. I'm having to make sure that I'm not overworking it. I'm going away from it, checking what's happening. There you can see thick layers built up, and that's what I'm going for when I'm painting. It's slowly emerging, and I think that's really exciting to see. So a lot of the lighter colours can go down now, and as soon as they're put down, they're really bright and thick and vivid, and they don't look washed out like they did at the start, because they're on top of lighter colours, and that's the benefit of kind of marking out where you want to start, marking out what it's going to look like, where everything's going, so you have those lighter bases down underneath so that they can be strong colours. As you may have noticed, I don't draw before. I literally just go straight in with paint, and I just build it up and build it up and build it up. That's just how I like doing it. And I don't really want to do the drawing side if I'm not going to enjoy it as much. I'd rather just get straight in with the paint, move it around. It's a very forgiving material. This is acrylic paint. So if I go wrong, I can just paint on top of it, build up more colour, build up more layers. It's really not a problem. That's why I love this medium. I can make it really thin and kind of mimic watercolours, and I can also make it super thick and apply it in a way that is associated with oil paint. I have a lot of flexibility with this, and so I love to use this medium. So you can see I'm now starting to build up the texture of I'm going to say it like the movement of gas, the atmosphere that I'm painting, using more washes to go over it where perhaps colour has become too bright, making sure that things are defined and they're looking sort of 3D, popping off the canvas. Washes are really important to get the definition that you're going to need, and as I said, they do build up a lot of they build up the composition. They allow different views of what you're looking at, so you have many different ways of viewing a painting. You can see different things within the painting. It's not just looking at one view. You can zoom in and see different aspects of things that have happened, details. It makes you want to look further into the painting. So you can see everything's a lot more defined now. We're still using a slightly fatter brush. I will go down to a really thin brush to put the final bits of detail in. But everything is just a huge build-up of colour and paint, creating this massive explosion that's happened. So now I've got the smaller brush out, starting to just pop in bits of colour that need to be redone to make them brighter, because when you do the washes and you move over things quite quickly, you do lose that colour. So that's what I'm doing here, making it all a bit lighter in the areas that need it, making it look like it's a light, kind of like sunlight or a starlight that's sort of exploding from the page. You need that light coming out. Still working with that smaller brush, the little bits of detail, a few more washes. Slowly started to put in some white dots. There we go. Which potentially could be stars. So that looked really simple, and it is, I suppose, a really simple way of doing it. Just dot it down, and then once you've got them in the right position, you can go back in, change how they look, remove them, move them around. As I said, really forgiving material. You've just got to, have the imagination to go and do whatever you want with it, really. So the lighter bits of colour now that I felt were missing, just to define those final bits. Yeah, the white. I always think of adding the white as like adding the final bit of sparkle to make the painting, sparkle, like kind of like a character's eye, like in an animation or something. I just feel like it's essential to it. It makes it pop, it makes it look finished. And there we go, putting all the stars in. It's really satisfying to watch. It took quite a lot longer than it looks like it did. But it gives that depth to the painting. It makes the viewer want to look in, to zoom in, see beyond what they can just see from standing at a distance. I made sure that each star had appropriate colours on it. They weren't all just white. They have their own little personalities shining through. Yeah, this bit was really fun to do. Just literally the finishing off pieces, making sure everything stands out, making sure there's shadow and tones where they need to be, keeping it controlled, keeping it considered, a good composition, keeping that technical painting in there, but keeping it balanced at the same time. So expression, a little bit of abstract, balance, technical. That's kind of how I like to paint. Taking my time with it, not rushing, and making sure I'm happy with it, with the quality and the standard. And this is the final piece. So thank you for watching this Galaxy time lapse of my recent painting. I hope you enjoyed. I really enjoyed painting it, and I hope to see you guys back here soon.